Goedemiddag, lieve damen en heren. Het is meer een groot eer houdt hij op deze schöne plaats te zien. Een ganz herzliche merci und de stad Luxemburg für de Lundung an de gastvriendelijkheid. Een groot merci aan Luxemburg voor al de meiselijkheden die het mir ginhuut. And now, to save your ears, I'll switch to English. My name is Kateryna Mostova. I'm a Ukrainian photographer and sociologist, based in Luxembourg since February 2023. Looking back, my path to Luxembourg began in 2014, even if I didn't realize at that time. Back then, I was living in Luhansk, an eastern Ukrainian city about 40 kilometers from Russia. Despite many obvious facts, I did not expect any harm from Russia. They were our neighbors. We had economic, cultural, and personal ties. This made everything that followed feel deeply Kafkaesque. In March 2014, Russia annexed Crimea. I see this moment as one of the first domino tiles after the Russian invasion of Georgia. It triggered a chain reaction that destroyed the global order and international law. We see the consequences clearly today, and sadly, this is not the end. After Crimea, Russians occupied Donbass, organized so-called referendums, seized government buildings, and created so-called people's republics. Everything collapsed in a single moment. I was forced to flee my home city. The summer of 2014 became an endless carousel of horror and grief. News of civilian cars being shot while people tried to escape. Lawlessness, torture, and killings. The 40-day blockade of Luhansk. And the downing of flight MH17. We could not believe it was real, but unfortunately it was. By the end of the summer, our hope of returning home within weeks had disappeared. I relocated to Kiev. Until 2019, I visited Luhansk once or twice a year and watched how a city of 500,000 inhabitants slowly faded and emptied. It became clearer that life would never return to what it once was. This was painful to accept. At the end of 2021, I attended a gathering with people from different regions of Ukraine. The conversations turned to 2014. A former resident of Luhansk shared how she was forced to stay in the city in the summer 2014 because a close person to her had been captured. This story was typical for many people from Luhansk. The others, who had no personal connection to Crimea or Donbass, were shocked. They admitted that had never realized what had really happened during the occupation. At the moment, I understood how invisible these stories still were. I wanted to reveal the human side behind the statistics. I published an open call on social media and invited people from Crimea and Donbass to share their stories. Many responded. Their motivation was clear: to preserve memory, to document a reality that is being destroyed and rewritten by Russians. Behind every number, there is a human life. This project was a serious challenge. How do you speak with people carrying deep trauma? How do you avoid re-traumatizing them? How do you present such material responsibly? I created a set of common questions for all participants. Some people I knew, and their stories were familiar to me, yet I cried while reading their responses. Others who joined the project were strangers. By the end of January 2022, the project was shared publicly for the first time. Just 1 month later, Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, and the project had to be put on hold for almost 2 years. After the start of the full-scale invasion, many Ukrainians experienced a profound sense of betrayal. In 1994, Ukraine gave up its nuclear weapon in exchange for security guarantees from the United States, the United Kingdom, and Russia. Guarantees that in 2022 proved to be little more than consultations. I believe the sense of a partner's betrayal is now familiar to many people across the European Union as well. After arriving in Luxembourg, I realized that significant amount of information about Ukraine simply does not reach people here. In the spring of 2023, I therefore decided to develop a large exhibition project based on this documentary work and my photography. In March 2024, with the support of the municipality of Bison, Unveiled Ukraine was presented for the first time. I returned to the participants in January 2024 and asked a new question. How had the full-scale invasion war changed their lives? And that time, new voices joined the project. Who are these people from the project? There are 15 ordinary people, people who could be your neighbors, acquaintances, friends, colleagues, or family members. A young woman in age 17 who faced with very adult challenges. A mature woman who survived Russia captivity. A man who was famous journalist in Ukraine and who took part in the exhumation of mass graves in Bucha. A woman who began volunteering in 2014 with friends and now leads one of the largest foundations in Ukraine. 15 personal stories out of millions. Today you can see 8 of them here. The full versions and stories of other participants are available via QR code on the banners. One question I asked was, if you could go back to 2014, would you do anything differently? Almost everyone said yes. Many regretted not taking the invasion seriously enough. None of us could imagine that Russians would turn Ukrainian peaceful life into such nightmare. This was a dangerously naive belief, especially if we look at history. And no need to go deep. We have recent examples of Russia's military invasion of neighboring countries, including Ichkeria, nowadays known as Chechnya, and Georgia. Russians are committing horrific genocidal crimes in and against Ukraine. Torture, rape, the killing of civilians, the kidnapping of children, human suffering, the destruction of cities, environmental devastation, and the mining of vast territories. The consequences are impossible to fully predict. As of late autumn 2025, around 20% of Ukraine's territory is occupied. About 28,000 civilians have been killed. Millions are refugees or internally displaced. And this is only official data. This is not dry statistics. Every number is a human life, a whole universe within. People wanted to watch their children grow, and children wanted to grow up. None of this ever happened because Russia killed them. Through this project, I wanted to give a voice to those who experienced war, so their stories are never forgotten. I wanted to show why defending democracy and liberty still matters. The exhibition has since been shown in Luxembourg 3 times, Brussels, Helsinki, and other European cities. Each time, I hope it would be the last and will not need to talk about war. But the war in Ukraine has lasted 12 years, and soon it will be 4 years since the full-scale invasion began. I know many people in Europe are tired, but please, do not normalize this war, this terror, and crimes behind it. Do not get used to them. Stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes. Ukraine continues to fight at a terrible cost in human lives, The Ukrainian army has earned worldwide respect through its resistance. The special service have shown outstanding results, such as spiderweb operation. Perhaps soon the time will come for new, more stable alliances, and the world will finally see Ukraine as a partner with great potential. After almost 3 years in Luxembourg, I still dream of work projects that deepen the ties between Luxembourg and Ukraine. And I dream of the day when you, dear guests, will be able to visit Ukraine safely. Peaceful Ukraine. Thank you very much for being here tonight.